So I'm doing a longer review of the synodal process that has been published today by the Irish Synod. I'm just going to make some very short points about how I feel absolutely ashamed and betrayed by what has been published in that document, especially what is not even mentioned in that document. Okay, and let's start with what is critical for Irish society, which is the next generation of Catholics. And the most vulnerable in our society have been completely whitewashed and forgotten and buried. You know, there was a lot of discussion about the abuse of in religious orders and the Magdalene laundries, and I understand that. Not once in that Irish document, not once, 26 dioceses, not once was the pro-life cause mentioned. Not once did anyone talk about, remember, discuss the 18,000 abortions that have happened in Ireland since 2019. 6,666 abortions was the first number that we had. They were on about COVID, the 666 days of COVID and the impact of COVID in the church. Not once did they talk about the pro-life cause and the scourge of abortion, the loss for Irish society of 18,000 children. The reality, how are you going to evangelise those 36,000 people that have decided that they do not want those children? 18,000 women, 18,000 men. You know, what are we teaching our kids anyway today? We cannot talk. I mean, what is missing from that document is so obvious. I mean, you couldn't invent it. I mean, and I'll do a longer review, so you'll see it there and I'll talk about it. What's the role of men in the church, actually? Maybe if men were formed to be men, you wouldn't have the scourge of abortion in society. If men weren't treating women as objects to be looked at in pornography, not mentioned there. Men's ministry, not mentioned there. If men were taught to be men, if they were taught to be Catholics, if they were taught to love Christ and imitate who Christ is, maybe we would have a different Catholic society. You know, I mean, the fact that men, and I'm not talking, you know, I think people think, oh, well, men are in the leadership. Okay, that's fine. 99.8% of men in Ireland are not bishops, priests, deacons, okay? So how are you going to include them? How are you going to bring them to the faith? How are you going to bring them away from pornography? How are you going to stop them treating women like dirt? Gender-based, there was some mentions there of gender-based violence. You wouldn't have gender-based violence if men understood the faith and understood their mission to imitate Christ. I'm beyond livid on what is not in that document, because obviously people haven't been taught the faith. They don't understand the faith. I feel betrayed. I feel disgusted by that document, to be honest. Disgusted. Never in my life as a Irish Roman Catholic did I think I would see the day that we would trump up and bring out that document. Look, we have this document for Rome. We had a referendum on abortion 3 years ago. Oh, let's not talk about that. Oh, abortion, that's not something that we talk about in this synodal process. Not even discussed once. Yeah, that's brushed under the carpet. LGBTQ, we'll put that in there so many times that, you know, this is what we need in the church. That's fine. Off you go. A firm society. Society doesn't like you talking about abortion either. Do you know what I mean? I can't tell you how disgusted I am with that document. I feel, I don't know. Maybe I've lost it. Who knows? Maybe I'm stupid. I'm the stupid one, you know. I was just reading through it. So where's the pro-life cause? How are we going to end abortion? Where does the pro-life cause figure in it? I mean, the Kerry Diocesan Youth Services will give out condoms. You know, They don't even have the guts to remove diocesan from that and say, look, if you want to do that, so be it, but we're not involved. I mean, guys, I'm sorry to be so passionate about this, but as I said, if men knew who Christ was, imitated him in this world, how different society would be if we opened the doors to grace, to the power of Christ in our life. How different we would be in society. How different our families would be. How differently kids would be raised. You know, and you have to understand this, and people and women will understand this. You know, women want their sons to be good men, to be good husbands. Men are called to sacrifice. Women are called to be the heart. You know, we have different roles to play. And by removing these roles, we've created confusion on so many levels. And then we just don't want to talk about the confusion that we've created. The fact that we have 18,000 women that have aborted their children, 18,000 men that fathered those children. And I presume many of them would have been baptised Catholics in Ireland. Maybe 70% of them. Do we talk about that? It hasn't been mentioned there. It's completely absent. Nothing in that document. As I said, I'm completely and utterly ashamed of this Irish church. You don't know how ashamed I feel of what we've done to the faith in Ireland. That we're not able to preach it. We're not able to open the doors. Do you know what I mean? I mean, do Catholics in Ireland see what you've done to the faith? Do you understand what the faith is? I mean, do you understand you will have to go before God and present yourselves as priests, bishops, and say and give account to what you've done? Because those of us who know who Christ is and know what the faith is, we have a responsibility to share that with the world, you know, and not to keep it hidden under a rock. The fact is, and all bishops and all priests and all of you people that prepared that document, go off home and sleep tonight. You didn't even mention the biggest scourge in Irish society, which is the pro-life issue. Because on top of that abortion, you have a whole level of problems in Irish society. You know, why are we not preaching? Why do we no longer preach? Wouldn't it be better to get married before you have sex? I mean, we not even mention kids don't know about it. Would it not be better to prepare people for the vocation of being a father and a mother into a family? You know, all of these issues that are stacked on top of the pro-life movement, on the abortion issue. How are you going to deal with them? How are you going to deal with them? You don't mention the scourge, pornography. You know, you're talking about gender-based violence. How are you going to deal with pornography in Irish society? The objectivization of women by men. You know, it starts on a phone and then it goes on to drugging women for sex, to brothels, to so forth. If you're not teaching men to be men of sacrifice, if you're not teaching men to imitate who Christ is, at least try to open the doors to that beautiful encounter with Christ. I mean, maybe I've lost it. Maybe I'm living in an alternative world and I'm reading too much into this. But I just think the Irish church, the Irish institution, the bishops and priests in Ireland, you have completely lost it. You've completely lost it. Have you read that document? Have you read it? Have you actually read that document? You should feel ashamed of yourselves. Whoever's prepared that, you should feel utterly ashamed of yourselves for what you've put into that document. Oh, what's missing from this? Let's go see what's missing. Well, this is missing and that's missing and this. The environmental issue. The environmental issue is missing. Pathetic. If you couldn't even mention the fact that we have destroyed 18,000 unborn children in Ireland with our legislation, And we haven't stood up and given a counter-current, a counter-vote. We're not even to do it in our own synodal process. You're not able to do it. You're not even discuss it. Feel ashamed of yourselves. That's what my thoughts are on it. I was livid, absolutely livid when I was reading through that. But sure, look, what can we expect? Sure, we don't talk about that anymore. But it's not a talking point anymore in the church because we don't have. This is the synodal process that we're in. How are you going to teach the faith? How are you going to teach what the beauty of the faith when you're just covering it up? You can just become a mirror image to the world. Just go out next year, walk down the next Pride Parade and just carry the synodal process off on all the Pride Parades around Ireland and just sell the faith to them. Just become mirror image. Do you know what? I think at the end of the day, I might be better off just... this thing about canonical process and canonical... I think I'd be better off going to Society St. Pius X if this is really what's going on. Sometimes I question. Sometimes I honestly question. Maybe I've lost it. Maybe I'm deluded. Maybe I'm mad. Has the church lost it in Ireland with that document? Maybe somebody can give me a ray of light in this process. Give me, if you cannot, what's missing from this document? When I was reading it, it's 27 pages long. And I was going to, so where are they going to mention the pro-life cause? The fact that, sorry, is there any mention of the pro-life cause? And I'm just going through, maybe, yeah. So they've come into the last, what's missing from, what's missing? They said there was a part here, what was on page 22, above that. Notable issues that are not strongly present in the consultation. Notable issues, notable. So, I'm sure, here it is now. Wider ecumenical interfaith. Where's the pro-life? Environment. Where's the pro-life? Social justice. Sacramental life in the church. Not a word. Not a word. Not a word. Let's ignore the obvious in Ireland now. We're modern. We don't talk about pro-life issues in the Catholic world anymore. No, we're European Catholics. We don't talk about those now. No. It's all flag waving now. Those are the issues of the day. Let's not talk about these older, old-fashioned things like killing your kid. Yeah, sure. Sex before marriage. We don't talk about these things anymore. Let's start rewriting this. That's the time is to rewrite this. Let's start rewriting the faith and retranslating the Bible because we'll make it more inclusive. I'm so angry. You can feel it in my voice anyway, and I apologize, but I feel disgusted. I feel betrayed, disgusted by the Irish Catholic Church, to be honest. And maybe somebody can put me straight, give me some light at the end of the tunnel on what's going on here. Nobody seems to be knowing what they actually want from the church. Nobody seems to understand the mission of the church. Or am I missing something? Let me see. Did they actually mention souls? Just out of here. It's mentioned once. But not, it's part of abuse. Physical, sexual and emotional abuse and its concealment by the Church in Ireland was described as an open wound. This experience affects victims and survivors and their families at every level of their being, including their soul. So that's the only mention. Salvation, not mentioned. Anyway, look. So when is it going to be time? Shall I just hand in my Catholic card and is that where we're coming from? What do you want? Where are we going with the faith in Ireland? I feel utterly betrayed and disgusted, to be honest. If this is what you're going to hand us, I might as well bring my kids to the Orthodox faith or something like that, or the society. Is there some ray of light in what's going on in this process? If you're not able to discuss the obvious issues, or Or maybe I've lost the plot. Maybe abortion isn't a big issue anymore and we should just forget about it. I'm quite disgusted, to be honest. I am. I am. I feel very disgusted by that report. Because as a parent, I remember when my daughter Laura, who, we had issues during pregnancy, and we were told, well, in other countries you'd be advised to abort, but here in Ireland at the time abortion was illegal. Here in Ireland we couldn't advise you, and it kind of brought home the fact that we did have some standards here in Ireland that were different in other countries that would protect the unborn. And the Catholic Church had a massive impact on protecting the life of the unborn. Anyway, such is life. Let me know what you think in the comments. I'll give you a longer review later on this document. But that's my first reading. And to be honest, I don't know what to say. I honestly don't know what to say. Anyway, God bless. Take care. Bye bye.